Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Alice Fong and welcome to episode 5 of my Love Lessons with Dr. Alice series. Thank you for joining me today. And today I wanted to talk about the gift of the ghost. Yes, ghosting is a real deal, unfortunate thing that happens in dating. But, and it's happened to me plenty of times, but I feel like two ways you can perceive it. You can get resigned about it. You can be like, dating sucks, why do I bother? Or you can be like, this is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity to build resilience. And that's what I did from the few incidences of ghosting that happened to me when I was back in the dating scene last year for a little while. So I'll tell you a few of those stories because, it's not always fun and sometimes you just want to give up on dating. But I want to just have you consider that if you persevere, then anything is possible and you could find the love of your life. And so just a few fun stories about what had happened last year when I got into the dating world again. One guy who, he actually suggested we talk on the phone before we go out on a first date to see if we have chemistry conversationally. And I thought that was a great idea. And potentially there could be a risk of a catfish, I guess, but I was like, hey, I'm open to it. So we actually had 2 great, amazing phone conversations before our first date. And then when we had our first date, it went also great conversationally. And it was engaging and it was exciting. And then we even set up our second date on that first date. It was a Friday night and we decided to go out on Monday night. And he was like, we were messaging back and forth all weekend long. And I was like, oh yeah. And then Monday morning when we're supposed to go out that night, he texts me. He's like, I just don't think this is gonna work. Bye. It's like, okay, when he was engaged with me after in text messages all through the weekend, so rather than just say up front, hey, I'm not feeling it, that's cool. So I have to admit that I was like, wait, what just happened? I was like, I don't understand, what was it? And I was driving myself crazy trying to think of was it something I said? Was it something I did? Does he not like how I look? Just all these things that I was like, oh, was it this? Was it this? And I was going crazy thinking, and I was texting him tell me what was really going on. Just be straight. Just nothing. No response. Again, I sent him 4 long texts. No response. So I was like, that, my friends, I hear is a latest dating term in my opinion. It's called mosting, where they come on real strong and then they just disappear. And it's without any expectation. That can happen. So it's the worst form of ghosting. So there was that incident, but I came to this realization that, do I really want to be with someone who doesn't text me back? No, I don't. I don't appreciate that. I'm worthy of more than that. I want someone who wants to be with me for me. And when I had that realization, then I could just let go of having to know what happened. Because if you didn't like me for me, if I wasn't being true to myself and you liked me and I was trying to be something different, then that wouldn't work out in the long run. So there was that incident. Then there was another incident where this guy, we go out on this first date. It was great conversation, and we talk about, we set up a second date where we were going to go out to dinner for our second date. And on the first date, I enjoyed the conversation, but I wasn't even feeling the butterflies. But I was like, hey, I like the conversation enough to see what happens on a second date. So we set up the second date, and he, 15 minutes before our date, I'm at the restaurant. I'm sitting down. He texts me, hey, I'm running a little late. I'll see you in a little bit. And I was like, yeah, no worries. I'll wait. 5 minutes after the start of the date, he calls me and he's like, so I'm actually I lost my wallet and I was looking for it, and I drove back home to look for it and I couldn't find it, so I'm just not gonna show up. And I was like, what? And I was like, he was like, yeah, I don't wanna like, you know, keep you waiting or whatever, so I'm just like not gonna come. And I was like, well, thanks for standing me up. Great. He's like, well, I'm not standing you up, I'm telling you. And I was like, it's after the start time of our date, so you're telling me this is going on. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I wasn't even like that into him in the first place. But he's like messing, and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna enjoy Korean barbecue dinner to myself because I love Korean barbecue, so I did. But he's texting me throughout the dinner, like, you know, I'm so sorry, I do wanna go out with you when you get back from a trip, because I was going out of town the next day. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to go out with a guy who just stood me up. So yeah, but he kept texting me. He seemed to like want to go out with me and let me give him a second shot. So I was like, So I was driving home from dinner and I'm thinking, okay, how can he make it up to me? That would, after this whole incident, it would take a lot of something. So I'm thinking, okay, when I get home, he's still like texting me, and I'm like, okay, I thought of 2 ways you can make it up to me if you actually want to go out with me again for a second time. You can either, one, which I did not expect him to do at all because it would be ridiculous, but you know, you never know. One was you can either buy me Hamilton tickets. We can go to Hamilton on our second date, which I didn't expect because tickets are ridiculous, but I was like, hey, worth a shot, you never know. So that was number 1, give me Hamilton tickets. Or number 2 was send me a cute or funny animal picture or meme every single day for 1 week while I was out of town. And so he picked option 2, and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. And he's sending me like every day, sometimes more than one, like a funny animal meme. Gave me some good laughs. We're texting through the whole week. The week comes, like, he gets all the way to day 6 with these funny animal memes. Then day 7, ghosted. Yeah, yes he did. And I was like, why would you go through all of that effort to just like ghost me at the end of like this journey? I was like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, that's what happens in the dating world these days. But you know, and I've also gotten like stood up one time too. That's not so fun after like a week of texting. So that happens. And yeah, you know, you can either be like resigned about like, oh, why do I bother when men like do these kinds of things? Or it could be like, oh, this is like kind of a funny story to me. It's kind of entertaining to me. And yeah, I don't want to be with some guy who does that to a girl. So yeah, I'm okay. And actually, because I've been ghosted and dumped and catfished and stood up, I actually feel like I've built resilience, that I actually am not afraid to play full out. I want real love. I'm ready to like put my heart on the line and just go for it. It doesn't stop me. And if you have like that tenacity and that drive, like if you, instead of you're like, oh, well, if love, I want love, it'll just come to me naturally. If you're not actually actively in pursuit of it, your odds are like really, really slim. It's not impossible, but it's really slim. But if you're actually actively engaged, that you're not stopped when people dump you or ghost you or whatever they do, if you're not stopped by that, it just gives you resilience to keep going, then anything is possible. Your odds of having the love of your life come into your life just shoot up way, way more. It doesn't mean it's going to guarantee that it's going to happen, but the odds are way more in your favor than you just sitting on your couch watching TV. So thanks for tuning in this week, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week.